Hi, Lisa Kuhl again. I am the teacher that has a multi-age classroom where I have students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in my classroom at all times. And I'm going to show you how I use this fantastic idea of using YouTube's and critical thinking skills in my classroom. So the first thing that I do is I will give the directions to the students. And once again, students can do it as an individual, or they can have members of three or more. Only three members in a group. I don't want to have more than three because then it's not an even amount of distribution of work. The students need to go ahead and find a video and that shows examples of Newton's three laws. They can be as creative as they would like to be. They need to have a step-by-step solution explaining Newton's three laws. So they're analyzing, they're explaining and defining the laws, and then they're actually showing solutions to the different equations that are aligned with Newton's laws. Finally, I would like them to summarize their findings in Google Docs and any other ways that if they have a different way besides Google Docs or Google Slides, they're always allowed to approach me as the teacher and say, hey, this is cool. What do you think of this idea? Giving that personal choice to middle schoolers is also a very strong way of having them learn better. And then eventually at the very end, they're going to go ahead and present their findings to the entire class. I would also show them this example video of how I would have incorporated Newton's laws by looking at Messi and all his different plays with his soccer. Then at the very end, the way I would control how I would grade things and such is all the group members would have their names here. And I have 3 different rotations, so I would have them tell me what rotation they were in, and they would tell me that just for housekeeping stuff to help make it a little bit easier on me. And then for my key here, these are terms that my school uses all of the time. So needs assistance, progressing, beginning to excel, and excel. So these are things that my students are used to hearing from me as a teacher, so they're growing with these ideas. And the students would have their own personal evaluation where they would rate themselves 0 to 4 on how did they find their video, how did they do their definitions, and then evaluate how did they explain Newton's first law in the video or the second law and the third law. Finally, especially for my 8th years, I might not ask my 6th years to do this, but they need to make sure they have correct formulas and units in all metric. Science is metrics, so I emphasize that in my classroom at all times. I want them to reflect on, were they a positive group contributor? Did they make sure they did not distract other groups? Even if it was an individual, did they contribute to other groups or not be making any distractions while they were all trying to work? Make sure it's all written in middle school quality and that they've honestly prepared for the presentation. They're not just reading off the screen verbatim where we're all ready to snooze in our seats. And then they're overall great. It also gives me a chance to give them overall comments, and then you'll see that I have the teacher evaluation right next to them. Many times students grade themselves harder than the teacher anyway. Then finally, I always like to have extension activities, especially because I have so many different ability levels in my room at the same time. So if they get done, I would like them to create their own video, maybe doing Newton's laws, or take a look at other topics and take it one step further and say, okay, so how can I use speed, velocity, centripetal, centrifugal force, other science concepts that we have done. These are all great 21st century skills that they are learning by using their critical thinking skills, analyzing and explaining what they're learning for the summative assessment. And then finally, once again, with middle schoolers, they always like to have a voice. And so I would conclude the project where they actually have an evaluation, where they decide, hey, what did I like about this project? What did I not like about it? What would I keep? What would I say the same? So I hope you enjoy doing your own YouTube project and have as much fun as my students myself had. Have a great day.